Welcome everyone to AYU Emergency webinar. This is conducted by Pluriverse along with International Corporation University, supported by Ayush Ministry. So we have an engaging session today on emergency management. So we have our dear panel speakers, Dr. Mail Vokeli. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes. Dr. Mail Vokeli, emergency medicine expert, School of Workshop, AYU Emergency team. We have Dr. Skandesh Lakshman, researchers, ethics scholar, School of Research, AYU Emergency team. And we have Dr. Amar Bansode with us, chief physician, Jeevan Prabha Clinic in Mumbai. We also have Dr. Aditya, which is the assistant professor and head department of transfusion medicine in Safai. So we welcome all of you to this amazing webinar, and we hope you would gain an amazing knowledge from this session. So let's not waste further time, and let's ask Dr. Mailsa to begin the presentation.
Good evening, all present here. Thank you to join this webinar on the AYU Emergency Yatra. I will start the presentation to introduce the project, AYU Emergency Care Project. I will share a presentation. Can you see it? Okay. So, AYU Emergency Care Project start under Krishna Kumarji, his guidance and his initiative. In 2017, during Tatrapakashni in Mangarai, Coimbatore. From this point, we start to work with AVP and building a project to know how to bridge Ayurveda and emergency. So there is three domains in this project. One on how to build training for Ayurvedic doctors. The second one is translational research, how to bring all the knowledge from Ayurveda into the practice of emergency management. And the third one is cooperative management, how to cooperate with now the mainstream medical system who is managing all critical care and emergency cases, almost. So in India, the rescue chain is not at the high level it can be. So 1.2 million MBBS doctors in India. And even WHO does count only this doctor from this medical system as a part of the rescue chain. So we have almost 8 lakh Ayush doctors in India, and if all these doctors from Ayush can join the rescue chain, it's almost we double the number of doctors for the society. And we have to know that even every MBBS has not a very good level in emergency management. So the training, now we try to focus on the training for doctors. So I think we cannot talk about BLS. BLS, it's even for layman, for everyone. But emergency care and life support for doctors. So at the beginning of the project, we were looking about one efficient training to focus on all the common emergencies and adapted to Ayurvedic doctor. So it's a comprehensive emergency care and life support from international guidelines on life-threatening situation And for me, emergency can only be learned on practical, hands-on training. But even one training, it is not enough. We need to repeat it and to really improve our automatism and reflex. So it is very necessary to become a trainer. If a lot of doctors are certified and with ECLS, if you train it 1, 2, 3 times, you will become expert in basic life support, in a basic emergencies, sorry. And so this will improve the number of trainers and the number of providers. So this is just the foundation, the ground. From this, it is not a real goal. This is good because every Ayurvedic student and Ayurvedic doctor can reach the rescue chain, be an actor and confident. But from this, we need to build the Ayurvedic response, the Ayurvedic management. And this will take much more longer, but we have to start now. And we have to decide how we can do it. So we met an institution in Bangalore linked with Rajiv Gandhi University, Jivaraksha, and they are ready to train Ayurvedic doctors and Ayurvedic students, maybe final year. And from this foundation, we can start looking at, if we see all this emergency through the Ayurvedic vision, what can be the treatment? How we can assess this type of situation? So there is many domains: cardiac emergency, respiratory emergency, trauma, burns, obstetric emergencies, neonatal resuscitation, pediatrics emergency, toxicology. But with one of my colleagues, we were surprised there is no psychiatric emergency. And this is very common and very difficult to handle. So I think in AYU emergency, we could bring psychiatric emergency. So how to make it from this AYU ECLS? So we will do first from the MBBS syllabus, because I think we need to do this to be accepted, to be really integrated in the rescue chain. When we are part in the rescue chain, no one will comment on adding things from Ayurvedic science, Ayurvedic Shastra, and experience, practice. But many steps will be there to see legal and ethics rules. In different states, Ayurvedic doctor can or cannot use allopathic drugs. We have to really go deep in it to see the legal aspect. Am I audible? Because one power cut here.
Yes, Madhaji. Yeah.
Okay.
It's all.
So this, we are working on it now. And this training of trainer, this is very important. So Ayurveda community can be independent, can train their students themselves. So we will not be dependent on allopathy professional. So very high quality training for Ayurveda doctors, trained by Ayurveda trainers to recognize critical illness and provide care. So we will try to present this during the yatra, and to see if the colleges and university want to develop this and spread this all over India. Emergency care through Ayurveda. Now we have some proof, some experience, many experiences for sure, but published very few. So I encourage every Vaidya to cooperate with us and or to by themselves publish a case report and to present what they do. We have Dr. Ashwat Rao, our friend, part of our team, who treat many cases of emergent of critical situation in ICU. So and during COVID, so he will be doing some seminar, some lecture during the Yatra. So the AYU Emergency Care Project is in different steps. The first step is to build this AECLS training and to spread it. So in every college, there will be maybe a team of trainers. They can create a training centers. Then, parallelly with this AYU Emergency Yatra, we will see how to implement and to document all experiences to have the support of academics and ministry, and to create a strong network from expert and from student. Because if we just focus on expert, tomorrow we will not have enough expert. We need the new generation to become expert and to believe, oh, it is possible. And from these two sides, the ACLS training development and the Yatra, we can implement and create this AYU emergency training. Maybe at the beginning to try to understand how to interpret and understand the syllabus of ECLS through Ayurveda, with all the rogas and nidanas and samprapti. Then to see how we can respond to it. And the next step, it is the Ayurvedic management. Now, where we can act, it is only in emergency department or in ICU or in the primary health care, in a remote area. You have to face emergency anytime. So if we have a good syllabus of management from Ayurveda, this we can study it, but it will take time. I think we can start, but to have a strong response, it will take some months or years. For me, the more important thing is to understand and to do this path. We need really to decolonize our mind, because every layman and a lot of doctors, even Ayurvedic doctors, think if it's an emergency, it is for MBBS doctor only. And even the general practitioner in MBBS, they think if there is an emergency, it is for the specialist of emergency. This has to be modified. I think everyone can treat emergency with what we have with us, but most of the time it's the good decision. Take the good decision in the good time. So Ayurvedic doctor has to understand it is their job to handle any emergency and try to stabilize it or to transfer or to treat. But first we need to decolonize our mind. And so for this, we have to understand where our mind is colonized and how to disbuild it slowly and get more confidence. Because the play of, the West, it is to talk only from what we come from the West. And so in Europe, we tried not to talk about Ayurveda or about alternative, what they call alternative medicine. And now it is almost a war, a mediatic war now, trying to avoid alternative medicine in the West. So I think in India, please try to see how we can correct this vision of the medical system and the balance of it. So we try to understand how to cooperate. And the problem is most of the time, from the beginning, there is a disbalance, because in the middle, we have evidence-based medicine, everyone trying to bring this concept to judge the efficacy of a medical system. But even in biomedicine, very few percentage of our practice is evidence-based. So we cannot apply this everywhere in biomedicine, in surgery, very difficult. And it is difficult to apply this in Ayurveda and traditional medicine more. So we need to really remove these beliefs and try to have a better cognitive justice to understand there is different system, and we have to analyze this medical system with different tools. And in Ayurveda, a lot of things has to be developed in practice-based evidence, allied science, come back to the epistemology of Ayurveda. So one question for me, it's really, do we have to integrate or to cooperate? And this you can think about. I have my opinion, my own opinion, but it is a very important question. And so maybe we need a third part to moderate the cooperation between biomedicine and Ayurveda. And we create an international cooperative university to develop this third place, to try to really balance and create a safe ground to cooperate. To really understand what is integrative, what could integrative medicine means, you can read this article from a great scholar, Sujata Mam from Delhi, a sociologist. Really, really interesting. I really thank you. I hope you will have a very nice webinar with my colleagues, Dr. Skandesh Lakshmanan, Dr. Aditya Shivare, and Dr. Amar Bansode. Thank you to be part of this movement, and take care.
Thank you, Dr. Mile, for presenting this wonderful session and making us aware of the AYU Emergency Project. Dr. Mile Vogeli is a medical officer from France, MD, PhD in emergency medicine. So he has given us all the insight about what is AYU Emergency Project. So next, we have Dr. Skandesh Lakshman. Dr. Skandesh Lakshman is currently engaged as a research ethics scholar at Yenapoya University, Fogati International Center. So he is here to enlighten us about what is AYU Emergency Yatra and how it is going to impact in the Ayurvedic industry and in the whole medicine industry. So I invite Dr. Skandesh Lakshman for your wonderful session.
Yeah, thank you, Abhimanyu, and thank you, Mailji, for your wonderful insights and presentation on AYU Emergency Project. I hope that everybody who listened to that will have a comprehensive understanding regarding the project's vision and objective. So to know more specifically going into the major component of AYU Emergency Project, which is now we have conceptualized as AYU Emergency Yatra. So in specific with AYU Emergency Yatra, it's a like a travel that transfers into the landscape of Ayurveda in the focus of better integration in the domains of AYU emergency or in the emergency integrated domain. So that is the primary kind of objective or definition that we can give. So if you are seeing in the Indian history also, we can see many revolutions and many transformation has come up through the journey towards which has happened pan India level or in that way, whether it is political, whether it is even our freedom movement that has even the element of journey and yatras and spiritualistic kind of things also has the element of some pan Indian travel. Even our fundamentals like knowledge synthesis, Charaga is said to be one of a great traveler who used to travel a lot. Even Vagbada is considered as a traveler who traveled pan India. Even to his disciple has traveled into Sri Lanka also. So we have a nature and we have a trend of traveling and synthesizing knowledge and organizing and making a network of different scholars and come them under a process of socialization in synthesizing knowledge. So to take that philosophy and take that kind of that kind of approach in my mind, the Ayu Emergency Yatra is being primarily conceptualized. So we can see like the major kind of activity that we intended as part of Ayu Emergency Yatra is to conduct the all India level sensitization works on ECLS or AECLS. Like Mailji was telling about what is the difference between basic life support and emergency care life support. So in now, if we are seeing emergency care life support, that is only intended for the training of modern biomedical doctors. So what we are doing is, as we become a collaborator with a reputed organization in Bangalore, we are appropriating it and contextualizing it in the context of Ayush professionals. So first, it is important to give a sensitization to the professionals and to the institutions and doctors and all people who's actually comes under the Ayurveda professional, especially in this context regarding what is the relevance of such kind of a training like ECLS. So to put it more forward in the active meaning of integration, we put it like AECLS. So there will be Ayurveda Emergency Care Life Support, which we actually intended to bring out in the future. But here in this workshop series that we are actually intended to do in different places in India, in different academical setup, what we are intended to do to have some sensitization and kind of disseminate what is the relevance of such kind of ECLS based training in order to make ourselves trained in order to handle with emergency and in the future also how we can actually incorporate Ayurveda into emergency management. And another important thing is that how we can actually develop a blueprint of an ecosystem in terms of research, in terms of knowledge synthesis, in terms of publication and all. And third one is that how we can make a network of all Vaidyas and researchers who can work on Ayurveda emergency care in an integrated approach, and how we can actually bring them in part of an establishment as a part of a social institution. So in the knowledge synthesis and in part of a research, it is very important that there is a network and there is a social establishment that can be built with having a proper network of different Vaidyas, different biomedical doctors, different researchers. So it is also an attempt to bring them in a platform, bring them in part of a social establishment also. So can go to the next slide, please. So you can see the map of India where actually, different mapping of sites are being there. So, so these are the major thing. So one of the, as I told, one of the, these are the team. So you can go to the next slide. So our team has a very balanced kind of approach where there is a multidisciplinary approach. There are biomedical doctors, there are emergency medicine experts, there are clinical researchers, scholars engaged in ethics, and there are people from nanoscience, public health, and classical Vaidyas, people works on Agatatantra, and academicians and students. So, and even people coming from traditional folklore background of agriculture and documentation and public relation. So we have a rich kind of a team where there is a diversity and multidisciplinarity. So we can see the timeline of actually Manji was suggesting all those things, how it got actually, the idea got inception and how it's actually transferred. So you can go to the next slide, please. Yeah. So currently the main institution we can say is that it covers almost like 7 states, which you can see in the slide also. The major institutions we can see like there are prime national institution where there is already an MOU is being signed like National Institute of Ayurveda, IPGTRA, Jamnagar, All India Institute of Ayurveda, BHU, and there are many reputed colleges and academics like Kaili University in Belgaum and Manipal KMC. Manipal is become our active site in order to have a collaboration in integrated medicine research and integrated care, even in the domain of emergency care also. And Munial Institute is become, and some of the reliable Vaidyas, hospitals, clinic also become part of Ayu Emergency Yatra. We can go to the next slide, please. Yeah. So objective, as I told, it is to sensitize regarding the relevance of ACLS workshop. That is the primary thing. And we can see all those things that I have mentioned earlier. We can go to the next slide, please. Yeah, long-term vision is about, it is the major, this yatra specifically can be considered as the one of the major component of the Ayu Emergency Project. So we can consider the major objectives like how Ayurveda can be actively incorporated into emergency care setting, how the research and documentation ecosystem can be built, how the network can be built, how there can be a guidelines in order to practice and education system can be built for the, incorporating Ayurveda into emergency care and life support. This can be the long-term vision also. So we can go to the second presentation. Yeah, you can see all these social media handles, and we can share that into the group also. So please follow us with the updates, and I think you can actually see all the updates, and some of the sessions will be actually give as live also. So please be updated with all the social media and our website and everything. So we can go to the schedule. I will just present the schedule. Yeah, you can see the schedule of that. It starts from Coimbatore, and there is a Munial College and Sushruta Ayurveda Hospital in Puttur, KMC Manipal, and Gomanda College, and All India Institute of Ayurveda, Goa, and KLE Ayurveda College in Belgaum, and BSDD College in Pune, IPGTRA, and all those things you can see there. So there is a well kind of diversity among private institutions, hospitals, clinic, and even biomedical institutions and major prime institutions in India. So they all become the collaborators and become the active site for the Ayu Emergency Yatra. So these are the kind of this thing we can see in the schedule. So we can go to the third draft. So we have actually three kind of workshop when we are actually doing a workshop in any site which you have seen. So one workshop is like the first workshop. It is like sensitization of the AECLS workshop. So in that workshop there will be relevance of presentation will be there based on the relevance of emergency care and life support. There will be demo. There will be simulations. There will be mock drill. You can scroll it down. You can scroll it down. So you can see that there is what are the components of the workshop. You can have the trainers of training in the later part. So there will be demo in that. There will be mock drill, simulation in terms of life support. There will be case scenario based discussion in the live scenario cases and all. There will be video presentations. Please go scroll down. There will be second workshop where there is moreover research with action and research action. So it will be more like how there is an interdisciplinary research system can be built, and this workshop deals with research with. It's more like how the research participant itself become part of the research, and there is a synthesis of knowledge. So in that there will be active discussions, there will be case discussions, and group engagements will be there. And third workshop. So third workshop is based on act to cooperate and cooperate to act. So in this, how an interdisciplinary team can be built and how the knowledge synthesis can be happen. So these are the first, second, third workshop we can see. So these workshop will be there in each and another institution based on the timing and based on the audience we are seeing. So these are the overview of the workshops. So you can so to end up with, so what the motto we are presenting is that like beyond the boundaries and uniting the wisdom. This is what actually we have to put forward as part of the motto of this yatra. So we have to cross the boundaries of compartmentalization of the knowledge and to find out the wisdom which can save the humanity and the science. That's what we are about. So we are expecting all your active cooperation in terms of all levels, and seek all your contribution as a collaborator or any means. So I just request them to present a very crisp video so that you will get an understanding. So please follow us in social media and all for the all updates. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Skandesh, for enlightening us about what is the Yatra and what is its objectives, purpose, who all are in the team, and what are we going to do. Now, for the sessions, we have Dr. Amar Bensode, who is a BMS graduate MD in Ayurveda Samhita. He is ex-assistant professor of PMT Ayurveda Medical College, Shevlon, Maharashtra. He is practicing in Gadkapur, Mumbai since more than 12 years. His field of interest are critical care and emergency management in Ayurveda, cancer and Ayurveda. So I invite Dr. Amar Bansode to present this session. Namaste,
Yes,
Dr.
good evening to all.
Amar Bansode.
Hello,
Yes, sir, you are audible.
I'm audible, and my screen is sharing there.
Yes, it is.
Okay, welcome all to this nice session. First of all, going to one of use platforms specifically in the emergency care.
Sir,
Hello.
is it possible for you to keep the headphone a little more, mic a little more up?
Okay, 1 second. Okay. Is it now?
Yes, sir, it is.
First of all, I congratulate all the Ayurveda Emergency Yatra team because they are going to expand a very important session of Ayurveda, that is the critical care and emergency management in Ayurveda. And I'm welcome all the participants in this nice session. So let's start. As the time is little bit, so today's session I just go through the to explain the importance of this session, specifically critical care and emergency management in Ayurveda. I will not go with the brief because of the time limit, but we'll try to explore the subject and to deliver or the focus to this specific subject. So let's start. So today's my topic is critical care and Ayurveda. As we all know, so many junior doctors or the students every time ask me that, is there any kind of critical care or the emergency management Ayurveda? But this, I just laugh for this question and tell them more than 70 to 80% part of the Sanhitas are included this topic actually. As we all know, in Sadhya Sadhyatva, the patient is considerable or the categorized in 4 sections like the Sadhya, Krucha Sadhya, Yapya, and Asadhya. So from the Krucha Sadhya, the critical or the emergency care started actually. If you go through the Sanhitas with the every chapter or with the every disease, they conclude all the avasthas or all
Sorry,
the
sir, to interrupt.
Hello.
Sir, can you put it in the presentation mode?
Sorry.
Sir, if it would be better if you put it in the presentation mode.
Okay. What
The
the
slideshow.
Okay. What the technical problem? My
Sir,
slide is not
you can go
visible.
to the.
1 second.
Yes, slide is visible, sir. It would be better to go into slideshow mode.
Slideshow mode. Okay. 1 sec. Okay, slide control. So what to do actually?
You can
Sir,
go
you
down near 90% down of your screen on the right
Okay.
side. You have
Okay.
you have a
100%.
no. You go the little click button left of the 90%.
Okay.
Not the other one. This one.
Slideshow. Okay. Is it fine? Hello.
Sir,
It will come. I see. It takes some time to.
Is it fine or have to do something?
It didn't change anything, but I don't know why. I think it's okay like this. You
yes,
can go.
sir. I think so. We could continue like that. No.
Okay. So from the Kucha Sadhya Avastha, we are actually dealing the critical or the emergency management. So people or the students must go through the Sanhitas to understand this topic. Okay. This is very famous shloka from the Sanhitas, included the many critical conditions, as we know that. So during the highest or the peak point of the Ayurveda at that time, Ayurveda treat many conditions, including in these shlokas. Okay, what is the importance of critical care in Ayurveda? As we know that this shloka is from the Udar Chikitsa Charak Samhita. Kriyayam Dhruvam.
Sir, the slides are not moving.
Not moving.
Have
Yes,
you-
no, it's moving actually.
It is still in the critical care and Ayurveda slides, sir.
But my screen is moving actually. 1 sec.
Maybe stop the sharing and re-put.
Yeah, now it is okay, sir. Now it is okay.
Okay. So what is
Sorry
the
for the interruption.
Yeah, it's fine. So what is the importance of critical care or emergency management in Ayurveda? Okay, this is the shlok from the Charak Samhita from Udar Chikitsa. Akriyayam dhruvam mrityu kriyayam samshaya bhavet evam akhyaya tasmed anugyatam sarupame. Pana bhojana sanyuktam visham asme pravyam. That means the one should go with all the possibilities to save the patients, and regarding all these stages or the conditions or the diseases, very well explained in the Samhitas. So we should briefly focus or explore this session in the coming years, because it's the time needed or it's the need of time to save the many lives. As we know that the modern science has the many limitations. Every science has limitations and some benefits, but as we know that there are so many critical conditions or the diseases nowadays, dying the patients only because of the lack of or the vacuum of the treatment in that part. But this vacuum definitely fulfilled by the Ayurveda, and we should definitely develop this session in coming years. Okay, so if you think in a different views, the Ayurveda may definitely play the important role in a critical care. That is as we know, there is a very high death rate in the many diseases, and ultimately the economic burden over the country is too high, and it's related with the social health and the working ability too. So if we consider all these points, we can definitely say that Ayurveda definitely play important roles in the critical care and emergency management. Okay, so as we know, there are limitations of allopathy and limitations of Ayurveda too. And this is the part of, we should go with the integrative approaches. So according to my concern, the future of the healthcare system is in integrative approach actually. So whenever there are the benefits from the every pathy, we should consider it. And if we consider the patient with integrated approach, the success ratio to save the patients are much more high. Okay, we know that I will explain about the Vishuddha Chikitsa. Nowadays, as we look around that the treatment of in treatment of cancer or treatment of tuberculosis or infertility in the modern science, there are lots of side effects and there are lots of complications because of the treatment part. Okay, so that is not the Shuddha Chikitsa. As Ayurveda explained, one must treat the patient in such a way that the main disease should be cured, but the another not should be considered. Okay, in that approach too, Ayurveda play important role in the integrative approach in the future. Okay, so there are the two main paths. One is allopathy and Ayurveda, as we know. But if we read curiously Ayurveda science and the modern science, we definitely comes on a conclusive point that there is only difference in language and approach. There is no difference in sciences actually. Whether you say the blood or the rakta dhatu, there is not much more difference actually. Okay, there are some points that the importance of integrative approach towards the patients. I just go to the somehow fast to conclude the much more points. So there are some important points about the modern medicines, as it include the quick response, high equipped life-saving support system, skillful surgical charge, higher antibiotics, cause and effect approach. And we should consider this point to get the maximum benefits through the patients too. At the same time, Ayurveda also includes the many beneficial points like the proven, and it's a proven ancient science, more than 5,000 years, evidence-based scientific theories of treatments, highly potent medicines with drug administrations, equilibrium of basic body constitutions like Tridosaj and all the etc. So in the future, we have to approach the patient, or we have to treat the critical situations with the integrative approach with the maximum benefits. Okay, and ultimately, what should be the aim? That is the zero death rate. That means the excluding asadhyatva, the patient must be saved from the apart from the asadhyatva situation, but whichever we can save the patient, we must be saved it. So our ultimate aim is to zero death rate with the integrative approach. That is as value of human life. Okay. So just look out some points from Ayurveda in the session of the critical care on Ayurveda. That is where there are explained in the Samhitas. That is the theory of marma. As we all know that there are 3 marmas, and the other marmas are very important, or the vital points. So it considered in the different category too, Sadhyahara, Pranahara, no, that's kind of Sadhya Pranahar Marma. So there are different categories of the Marma. One must go through the, I do not going to explain in brief. Second point is Indriyasthan and emergency cares. So in Charak Samhita or the different Samhitas, there are the Arishta Vijnana, who just want to learn the emergency care, one must go with the Indriyasthan or the Arishta Vigyan. So there are lots of conditions or the lots of situations explained very well regarding critical situations. Okay, so this third point is Ashtavida Pariksha and ICU management. It is very interesting to look out at that. If you go through the ICU management with the allopathy, it's all included in our Ashtavida Pariksha. That is Nadi, Malamutra, Jivva, Shabda, Sparsha, Dukakruti. So if you see the chart in ICU, whatever maintenance chart, so all the readings is from the Ashtavida Pariksha. Got it? So Ayurveda already explained it very well. And the situations or the stages or the avasthas regarding all these parikshas along with the treatment part, So to understand the critical or the emergency management, one must go through the details regarding this parikshas. So also there are the Dashivida Prana. This concept is beauty of Ayurveda, that is Dashivida Prana, including the Shira, Rudra, Basti, and the other parts of vital dhatus or the vital parts in the body, which consider prana is situated in that points. So Dashivida Prana is very much important concepts regarding this. We have to go through it. So in a Stroto Viman Adhyay, Viman Stan, so there it considers the difference through how different strotas get vitiated with the Prakopit doshas, or how one strota destroy others, relevantly. So Ayurveda explain much more better or to understand the pathophysiology of the multi-system organ failure, actually, along with the highly potent part of treatment too, So there is the limitations in the allopathy in multi-system organ failure, the science can maintain the patients or with the life-saving support to prolong the life, but it's not ultimately their success ratio to save the patients are much more low. But with the Ayurveda, even though there are multi-system organ failure patients, we can save the patients, or the chances to save the patients are much more higher. So why we are focusing over the integrative approach? Because the allopathy include the much more better life-saving support from the modern science, but to reverse the pathophysiology or to reverse the basic root cause, the medicine is present in the Ayurveda. So both sciences must work with together to save the patient. So according to, I'm working in this field last 10-12 years in the critical care or the emergency management. With my experience, I can definitely say that if the both sciences working together, then the success ratio to save the patients much more higher, apart from the individuals. Okay, in generally we facing the emergency. Just look out some examples that regarding with the hypertension, hyperglycemia, hypovolemic shock, marmaghat, acute retention of urine, acute MI, tachycardia, bradycardia, whatever related with the heart, murcha, unmad, apasmar, sannyas, coma, high-grade fever, bleeding tendency, shwas. So these are the emergencies. If you go with the modern science, if you are look out with modern science, all these emergencies explained very well, but simultaneously Ayurveda to explain these all conditions briefly along with the very effective treatment part. If you go through the any kind of any medicine book from the allopathy science, they explain very much, pathophysiology investigations part are much more better in the allopathy with the pratyaksha praman actually, but when they comes under the treatment part, there is nothing, and this vacuum definitely fill with the Ayurvedic part of treatment, so that's why both the sciences must include it or the integratively stay connected in the future. So these are some common emergencies we facing in day to day, and definitely we can deal with this successfully with the Ayurveda. Okay, due to the time that we are not going to briefly in this, will be later in some other webinars will explain. Okay, these are some scoring systems to analyze the critical patient. That is, all of all about this. H2, 3. DCS, SPS, SOD. These are the scoring system to analyze the critical one. But the beauty of Ayurveda is that the Ayurveda to explain there are different methods to analyze the patient in a various critical stages, to define the sadhya sadhyatva. There is nothing differences in sciences. There is only the difference in the languages. If you go through the sequence, darshan, sparshan, prashna, pariksha, it explains same things which explain the modern. See, these are the some considerable points in short to understand better what point should be considered or the focus when you approach a critical patient, to analyze the sadhya sadhyatva. So these are the some points you just look out this. Firstly, sign and symptoms which depends on the Tridosh Prakopaha. Panchabhautik Pariksha, which explain the Guna Pariksha actually, whether there is the Vyadhi Sankar or not, from the Lakshana to the Srotasa to the Mulasthana. This is the sequence to understand the Mula Samprapti. Same thing, Lakshmana, Lakshan to the Vyadhi to the Upadrava. Then Marma Pariksha, Prakuti Vikruti Pariksha, Parishta Pariksha, Hetulinga Samprapti, and Sadhya Sadhyatva. So these are the same considerable points when you are dealing with the critical patients or the emergency, whether it's the ICU or the in the home. This point must be, one should go through these points to analyze the patients before starting the treatment, If you consider the Srotasa or the systems, specifically respiratory, circulatory, neurological, renal, or the hepatic, these systems are very much important during the part of analyze and including the treatment part. With the Ayurvedic perspective, these Srotasa is very much important. Okay, along with this, Bala, Mamsa, Kshaya are very much important. One must exam the Bala Pariksha or the Mamsa Kshaya Pariksha to define the Sadhya Sadhyatva. If one patient considers the much more Balakshaya or Mamsakshaya, that is go to the Asadhyatva. Okay, so these are some points you go through the briefly from the Samhitas. You must understand that the how Ayurveda beautifully explain all these conditions regarding critical care and emergency management. Okay, with the Samhita, study with the Samhitas. So these are the some basic points I just included here to see the critical patients. So from the dosha, Vata is very important in any condition. From the dhatus, Rakta, Majja, Shukra, and Oja are much more important in the treatment part. Agni is much more. Shanto Agni Mriyate, as we know. Malamutra and Sat, from the Mansik Bhav Sattva, these points are very important. Apart from this, Swara, Rasa, Gandha, Shabda, Sparsha, these Pariksha Bhavas are also important. And from the Manas Bhav, the Dhruti, Smriti, Buddhi. So each point is regarding with the critical situations. Okay, so keep it in mind. Okay. Apart from this, one must go with the modern diagnostic part, like the pathological pathological investigations part or the radiological, including the CT, MRI or X-rays, all this. So these gives you the with the pratyaksha praman or the direct focus over the root cause. So Ayurvedic physicians also understand the modern investigations part too. It definitely gives you the directions or to focus to diagnose the specified disease. History is very important to deal with the critical patients. Many times we cannot find out the hetus, but if you could it with the proper history, even though if patient is not able to give it, ask or talk with the relatives to find out the root cause. Many times if you find out the root cause, it's much more easy to treat the patients. Okay. So conclusively, we can say that hetu, dosha, dusha, dhatu, mana, samprapti, avastha, chikitsa sutra, including Atyak and Kalantar. So these points are very important. I'm just going to touch the points, which are dealing with the critical care and emergency management in Ayurveda. So you can just understand the, brief area of this topic. In the treatment part, the main part is drug administrative, because so many times we are attending the patient in ICU, in a critical stage. So there are some routes to administer the. Many times it's difficult to administer the drug by orally. So there are, we can with the nasya or the basti, we have to, or with the Ralph's tube, tubes. We have to give the medicines. Okay, so in the treatments part, there are many options. That is the you can use the rasakalpas from the herbal medicines. Anupani is very important, and if possible, there are some panchakarmas or upakarmas according to the situation we can apply in the even though in ICU too. Okay. So in herbal points, there are so many kalpas we can use accordingly or the situationally. So there are lots of drug lists. There are the brief drug lists from the herbal part. Specifically the diseases, Jwara, Rakta Pitta, Shwasakas, Raja Ekshma, Vatavadi, Udara. The kalpas from these diseases are much more important or the play important role in the critical situations. Okay, so go through with that. There are much more brief list from this. From the rasakalpas, one must, before using any rasakalpa, one must understand the ingredients of the rasakalpa. What are the bhavana dravyas, their proportions, anupan, patya. It's very much important before adding the drug. Okay, because with these you can, using the drug, one drug in the briefly, one drug in many diseases or the many avasthas. These are some important drugs if you are going to with the single drugs, Abrak, Paradgandak, Abrak, Suvarna, Hirak, Tamra, Muktik, Loha, or the Vishadravyas are play much more important role in the critical situations to save the patients. These are the some drugs we usually use in the ICU or in the critical patients. Trilokya Chintamani, Siddhamakar Dwaj, Rasa Sindura. So there are the wide variety in the Sindur Kalpa, that is Rasa Sindur, Tamra Sindur. There are lots of varieties in the Sindur Kalpa. Hemagarbha, Potali Ras and others, that is the Potali Kalpa plays much more important role in the critical care to save the patient. So there are so many Potali Kalpa, Hemagarbha, Tamragarbha, that kind of. Swasakasa Chintamani, Suvarna Malini Vasanta, Vasanta Kalpas are very important. Kasturi Vairav, Suvarna Bhupati, Mahalakshmi Vilasras, etc. So if you go through, there are the 30-40, at least 30-40 drugs which are very important to deal with the critical patients. So go through or the read briefly along with the ingredients, bhavana dravya, or they are the falashruti. It is much more important. Okay. So these are the some example cases like hepatic encephalopathy along with the we treated. So many patients in ICU. These are the some examples. That is the multisystem failure with the hepatic encephalopathy, CVA, blood clot in temporoparietal lobe, hepatitis, liver cancer, multi-drug resistant tuberculosis. Patient was in ICU in very bad situations with minimum expectancy, and all these patients we treated successfully along with the ICU. So with this, we can definitely say that Ayurveda definitely play important role or to increase the success ratio to save the lives. Okay. In COVID crisis, we all know that there are so many Vaidyas across the country saved many thousands of critical patients in ICUs with the Ayurveda. So where there was no hopes during the COVID crisis, people are dying, without any hope. Ayurveda play much more important role to save the important lives. So all these, if you consider all these points, we can definitely say that the integrative approach, or along with the both the sciences, if you consider the beneficial points, and if we will treat the patients with integrative approach, we definitely save those patients who will die due to the limitations of sciences. And in that perspective, I congratulated, or with the good wishes to the Ayu Emergency Yatra, that is the big step or the milestone step towards in the field of Ayurvedic care in the critical care and emergency management. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Amma Bensore. I know all the panelists, all the delegates are waiting to ask questions, as there will be full inquiry. So let's move that part to the last part. And now we have Dr. Aditya Shivhare with us to present his session. Dr. Aditya Shivhare is an MBBS graduate he has graduated in 2010 from Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Government Medical College. And he has done MD in transfusion medicine from Kasturba Medical College, Manipal University, Manipal, Karnataka. So he is now currently with Ayurveda and integrative medicine. And let's hear from Dr. Aditya Shivhare for his amazing session. Namaste, Dr. Aditya.
Yeah, hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah. Okay, so I will present here my life journey and how I treated cases, in fact, cured cases with Ayurveda. First, I started with integration and then sole Ayurveda, the patients who were not responding to allopathy. So first, I would like to thank my Guru and all the Siddhas and my Prarabdha for guiding me and also from relieving me from the moh of a doer. So I don't know how many people know the meaning of Guru, but from the background where I come, only that usually we are translated like the teachings, those who teach you the teachings. For me, I'll share my experience here. Guru means a person who gives you something more valuable than fame, money, and life, who is more important than life. So I thank all these people. Then I'll come for integration in oncology, Ayurveda. First, we should know why cancer happens. So if we search the review of literature in allopathy, we get the answers like random mutations, then some toxins which are lipid soluble, which are soluble like benzene derivatives, and similar molecules which have a ring. Then again paper ink ingestion, then chemicals in the crops, then synthetic oil exposure, and DNA damage due to any toxins like radiation, and the chemicals which now if you use it out of proportion, which are there in the foods, can also cause smoking and other things, pollution. Again, that is all have these complex carbon benzene molecules, which get dissolved in the lipids, which have the tendency to dissolve in the oil lipids kind of things, oily kind of substance. And then the thing is like fruits and food, they are all basically contaminated, but it is not proven. But when we come to a Ayurveda perspective, see, there no science has, like, at least the allopathy science does not have answer to anything, everything. So, and in fact, the truth is, we doctors cannot use allopathy for ourselves. When it comes to chronic diseases or diseases which don't have a clear-cut, known, evident-based cause, we tell that improve your lifestyle. Improve your lifestyle means improve the Agni, improve the Deepan Pachan through lifestyle. Unknowingly, we say improve your lifestyle. Even constipation, actually, there's no medicine that can cure constipation. Forget other things. So coming to the Ayurveda perspective here, like Agni Mandya means if there's Agni decrease Agni due to any reason, we can get diseases. Then it causes arm sanchay and can lead to further Vayu, Pitta and Kapha Anubandh. And if this goes for a long time, actually it changes the chromosomes permanently. So the essence of it can actually go to the sperm and ovum and can down the line decrease the potential uh, uh, genetic health of the human life. It can come like Vat Vikara in normal patients, or Vat Vikara if it goes at genetic level by repeated Agni Mandya in the fathers and parents. Similarly, Rajakshama can also cause diseases like cancer. And similarly, if somebody has a chronic infection, it again comes into Agni Mandya Vat Vikara, like viral infections. They if it's like chronic infections of Epstein-Barr virus or other viruses, it causes this Agni Mandya and Vat Vikara. And Shukra Dushti also. So the food we eat, we make ghee of it. That is called Shukra. So if ghee, the arm of that ghee is called as semen. Otherwise, it is called as Shukra. So similarly, lack of Sapta Dhatu in the soil and decreased organic content. That is very problematic thing which nobody discusses actually. And the food which we have modified to prevent them from pest. Either the shelf life is low, means its integrity itself is low. We cannot store it in the next season. Or many times the proteins that they produce through DNA modification are difficult to digest and assimilate so in our digestive fire. So Agni does not burns it completely. So that also can cause arm sanchay. So then we should also know the phenomena. See, the chance of cancer increases with the Vayu predominant age when the Agni is Mandya. So when the Agni is low, the Vayu follows it. So in young age, when the Agni in the Western sense, we call it how many chromosomes are being expressed at a particular point of time in a cell. So it goes down. That is the phenomenon of DNA clock. That is the phenomenon of aging. So when the Agni goes down, the Vayu also gets accumulated, and because it moves very fast and it causes its related problems. So with aging, the body becomes flabby, means the cellular molecules, they go away from each other. Vayu is there in between. It becomes rigid, stiff, the vertebral column. You might have seen people stooping. I'm taking this because the aging phenomena should be known. Then only oncology mechanism, that's why I'm taking this. Shriveled, similarly, nadia becomes shriveled. And these are the problems. And observation, keen observation, nadis and srotas get shriveled. And the 5 vayus that should move downwards, they don't move properly downwards due to the Agni Mandya. And as we age, we lose a lot of microorganisms. These things are not even discussed in the MBBS curriculum about the microorganisms because they're still in research. So we lose a lot of microorganisms. They are the signature of our Agni, basically. For instance, if there's a fruit, it is kept to rot outside, it will make a smell like alcohol. So the kind of organisms that grow there are different. But if there's a cooked food, it is kept outside, it will have a different smell of like shit. So the kind of organisms that grow are like those similar to those that grow on feces, like fecalis and other organisms. So the organisms that grow in our gut, they are directly related to the kind of Agni and the kind of fuel which we are taking. Microorganisms can be related to Agni. So then I would like to bring this Mula Dhara. Mula is the basis of life, and it has the power to sustain Apan Vayu, basically. So as the Mula gets damaged, the Prithvi Guna, the Snigdha Guna, the Sneha is also lost, and it becomes shriveled dry due to Khara Apan Vayu. So the Srotas there get damaged. So Mula preservation also leads to longevity for sure. So it can get damaged due to the things that increase, like things that are related to increase in Vat Vikara, like in the if we take it in a day-to-day basis, like stress, lack of sleep, hypertension, indigestion, thirst that doesn't get quenched with water because the srotas get shriveled or blocked. And similarly, pitta vyadhis like obsession, compulsions, aggression. The disease start at this point itself. It's burning and drying up sensation, causing harmonition. So, so thereby the role of basti is very important. And solution at personal. And I would also, apart from this, see, understanding the Vedas is we also require, apart from the knowing the known causes of cancer, the causes of aging, because cancer increases with aging, and also how to improve our understanding. Like at the end of this presentation, I would like that those who are listening, they should have at least my knowledge or more knowledge than me. Then this is it is fulfilled the role of presentation. So we need to improve the hardware, means the hardware of our system, the brain, the understanding, the observation, in a one word, if I keep it. So the Veda should go this anybody who is associated with the health system should have this Kriya Yoga supporting instruments like Rudraksh, Rasamani, and spend empty time interact with the raw material, earth, water, sunlight, maintaining the movement of vayus in normalcy. So there are techniques to maintain the movements of vayus in normalcy, like Wim Hof breathing, Tibetan technique, freely available. And the one who rediscovered it actually made 26 world records, so you should explore it. Then Upavayus activation, so the 5 vayus, the home of Apan, the channel need to be completed. So just go through the Shambhavi Mahamudra. It is one of the techniques still available for the general public to start how to start movement of home of Apan into Pran. So and basically other things like increase Agni somehow, like we call willpower, that is also Agni. By food, take food, sleep, means everything, Anusashan, and align the vertebral column. This is required for basically grasping Ayurveda. It is much sophisticated actually than Western medicine. And Surya Shiva Namaskar, then Abhyang Vasti Nastya Vashaman techniques, and if possible, when your body is ready after Surya Shiva Namaskar and Shambhavi, you can go for Kuti Pravesha, Khichri, Mudra. So coming to application of Ayurveda in oncology, to start with. So to start with supportive integration, like a patient has been given chemotherapy, has been given radiation. Now he is having problems with sleep. He is having problems with digestion problems, with day-to-day life activity maintenance. So he is having dryness. So you can improve his Agni. See, there's not much in allopathy to improve Agni. And there's no concept of Agni actually. So you can always work there. And it is the basis of curing acquired diseases and shamaning genetic diseases. So you can improve the Agni definitely, and you can improve the sleep. So for improving the sleep, Vasti, Nasya, again, these things also come into very important aspect is there, because the food we eat, it goes down. The rasa, to climb the rasa comes till Hridaya, but to take the rasa till Majja Dhatu, means to the brain and other things, it becomes very difficult. Means people have not even imagined in allopathy that what is the role of Nasya with Midupa, Kitelam and other things, Grita, Nasya. So you can take control of sleep, and then there are medicines also. And Rasayan therapy, definitely. Rasayans cannot be made in lab. So Rasayan therapy is there. So, and Dhatu Pachan. So you can give certain herbs which can lead to Dhatu Pachan. You can apply Lepam. There's no concept of Lepam. So all these things can be done for as a supportive system. So people have come with different diet forms. That is also a supportive system. So how to integrate the food, the caste aushadhis into the food. So I had worked with one of the breast cancer survivor. she had stage 4 breast cancer, and it was spread everywhere post chemotherapy, in the bones, lungs, and liver. So, but because of diet, she continued chemotherapy, and she modified chemotherapy, but there was meager chance of survival just to prolong the life. But with the diet modification, now she's 7 years disease free with chemotherapy, along with chemotherapy. So, so the diet, just example of how to go for integration in the diet. So, uh, this is the diet she used to use, cinnamon, neem, turmeric, then semaruba, then amla, marich, gomutra with haridra. So these things were incorporated in the diet, by the word diet, that you modify your diet. In fact, actually, in the Western system, the papers that are published, they're not much to offer in the diet also, because the aushadhis have to be incorporated. Whatever is in the Indian day-to-day system, it has been very cleverly, deeply, means very sincerely incorporated in the diet. So we have to implement it. Then just an example, the fruits, one of morning, if hunger is there, so fruits, afternoon, the heaviest lunch, like that. I don't know how much, but it was working for my patients. So this diet, after incorporation, with the help of one of my cancer friend, I gave it to the patients who were in maintenance phase of the chemotherapy for acute leukemia. I used to print this chart. And those who took it for seriously, because the dietitian, if somebody wants to know about diet, when I was in Tata, we will send them to dietitian. So dietitian will tell you evidence-based diet, whatever is evidence-based. But whatever was working for us on the field, we use this diet. It has this pancharas, it had giloy, neem, guava leaves, parijat leaves. So during the the acute leukemia chemotherapy is usually divided into 2 years chemotherapy regime, 2 to 2.5 years. Initial 4 to 6 months is aggressive chemotherapy, where we usually give IV injections, and the last 18 months is actually oral chemotherapy most of the times. See, most of the patients respond initially. Maybe 90% patient will respond initially, 70 to 90% based on the age. But during the oral chemotherapy time, or once the initial 4 month passes, they start relapsing. So those who responded initially, they will relapse during the oral chemotherapy. We cannot keep on giving oral chemotherapy, because they're all vishas. They have to be given according to the tolerability of the patient. So they relapse that time. But around 20-30 patients, I had not done objective study, but the 20-30 patients who were there in the anonymous cancer diet group, they followed this, and most of them were doing well, like 80 in adults, 80% roughly, around, from the 20 patients, 16 patients were doing very fine. And the usual response rate in the adults with acute leukemia is around 40 to 50%. This is an international response rate without transplant. So those who followed this diet, in them around 75-80% patients actually were off, down the line of chemotherapy, and they did not relapse. Even after finishing chemotherapy, they were doing fine. After I followed them till 6 months to 9 months of finishing. That is the 2 years of chemotherapy plus 9 months. So definitely there's a role of integration. And definitely, if you see as a common sense part, common sense is the first sense. The animals have cancer, but plants don't have cancer as such. So their guna definitely goes in our system if we take that kind of diet. Again, I'll come back to the slide of integration. So we can definitely implement caste aushadhis in the diet: ashwagandha, henguvachadi, and guduchi, turmeric, and other things. So apart from it, we can give like as I mentioned, Shirodhara, Abhyang, Basti. These are very important. In fact, I myself take Basti because it causes longevity. Other medicines that can be slowly, as per the trust of the patient and the trust of the system in which you are working. You can add some like gold, you can add, or mercury based on the trust. But if not, then you give just Chavanprash, like things like Brahmarasayan, Ashwagandha, Brahmi, Triphala, aloe vera, these things. So how much you want to integrate depends on the government support, depending on a lot of the things of the current times. The thing is, if the potential of Ayurveda in cancer, if you ask me, so I would say it can reverse the table. Ayurveda can become the primary system and allopathy can go to the alternative system. If you ask me the potential of Ayurveda, from my experience of 19 years of career. So I have worked in Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Medical College as MBBS. Then I worked in Manipal. Then I worked in Jipmar. Then Vellore. Then Tata. So that experience I am telling you, I'll come to the cases where you can actually you can actually take it as a primary stream case presentations for relapsed refractory acute leukemias who were not responding to the chemotherapy or who relapsed after bone marrow transplant, and they responded or got cured with Ayurveda. So coming to the first case, this patient, he had a good Agni in the sense he was 6 years old. So he was a T cell acute lymphoblastic leukemia. He had a brain involvement. And if you see, there's a long admission, 30th June 2019 to 19th August 2019, almost 2 months. So because he developed severe complications of L-asparginase, especially clotting, the thrombosis, this one chemotherapy causes thrombosis in the blood. So the thrombosis can manifest in different ways, if the vessels of the gut are thrombosed, so gut will slough off, the mucosa lining of the gut will slough off, and it will bleed also from there. If it thromboses in the brain, it will cause seizures. If it thromboses in the lungs, it will cause damage to the lungs and infections in the lungs. So that's why he had a prolonged admission. We had told the patient that 10 lakhs will be the chemotherapy total treatment cost in 2019, but actually they had spent 10 lakhs because he was shifted 3 times to ICU in the first admission from June to August 2019. So the child was from Bangladesh, and they had sold half of their home. So they had one more child. So father told, I have to take care of another child. So let this child take the natural course. I don't have further money. So the thing is, 19th August 2019 he was discharged. Then they did not. There was severe compromise in chemotherapy even during admission because of this is called compromised induction. Induction was compromised, and also during the follow-up. So then in the March 2020 there was lockdown. So child was doing well. Then he had started having fever. See, if you leave chemotherapy, if you don't follow the 2 years chemotherapy, definitely you'll relapse. So then he had fever. They started taking palliative sort of treatment in Kolkata because Bangladesh is near to Kolkata. And my tenure in CMC got finished in July 2020. And after that, I joined Tata Kolkata to work under Dr. Memin Chendi sir, who had set up the Department of Clinical Hematology in CMC Vellore to take his experience. So thankfully, I met him there. I used to give my number. I was the first call in CMC, the junior doctor who touches the patient. So that's why I gave them number in case they have any problem to contact CMC. So I came to know that he is in Tata, and then I was always exploring whether there's any other option in terms of, because most of the patient relapse during after 4 to 6 months of chemotherapy. So if something can be done with diet, I had no concept of AYU increasing with raw foods. I had no concept. I did not know anything that time. So, but I knew one thing, that if you give live food, your time required for sleep is less, because we were doing 20 hours duty there regularly. So if I eat sambar and rice, I will sleep more. If I eat this kind of food, which is shown in the figure, I will require less sleep. That was, I'm sure. And if you are sleeping less than what is required for you, you can have genetic problems down the line. So, but this food was making it sahaj for me to sleep less. So definitely it has some role in preservation of the genes. This was my inference, and seeing on the internet and filtering it by physiology, I started giving this food and combined with some snehan like curries. I didn't know that at that time curries like curd, this one kadhi, curd and all. And the food which I used to give them, I told them not to cut the full food, preserve the garba so that the environment of it, like ice cream, you scoop the food and eat it so that the microorganisms are gone into the gut. And he was a Muslim family, but they were motivated to, because in Bangladesh difficult to get gomutra and socially unacceptable. So they were motivated also later on to keep a cow which was small, means calf. As it becomes big, they used to sell it because they didn't have money to feed. So yes, it worked for him. And actually, I didn't tell he was relapsing in Kolkata as expected. So that time they met me in the winters of 2020. Winters of 2021. So 20 initially. I taught them the technique, one of the technique of Agni Deepanam called Wim Hof breathing technique, as I mentioned previously. It channelizes the movement of the 5 Vayus downwards. You all can explore it, and when combined with the proper graduated cold exposure, the technique's effectiveness is very strong. It causes kumbhaka, and it causes powerful Agni Deepan. It increases the metabolism like anything, but the air should be pure. The Kolkata relatively had pure air that time, and because kumbhaka prolongs to more than 3 minutes in this. And I never used to ignore my patients what medicine they are taking. They asked. So one of my AML patient was surviving with symptoms of chemotherapy for 1 year. That was the first time I heard this is a miracle for me without chemotherapy. So he was taking this one commercial medicine by Munir Khan. I searched about Munir Khan. So I came to know he has gone to jail also, and he has received award also from the president. So he was using a concoction of bacha, brahmi, ashwagandha, and at a commercial rate they sell it, muskmelon. So that was the only thing I knew that time. So slowly, as I learned Kriya Yoga, Ayurveda started coming to me because it increases the karma in one lifetime. You can do 2 to 3 times lifetime karma. So I come to learning by coincidences about Ayurveda. Then I added Swarn Vasan Malti, Tapadiloha Arogavadmi, Panchsigdhit Kugal. Then he is doing fine actually now. He is off chemotherapy from 2020 winter, and now it is 3 years. And he's if 1 year more passes, he's on minimal medicines. He also developed actually liver damaged because of chemotherapy. So, and the brain seizures, brain damage also. So those things are also corrected. He's off all the anti-seizure medication, and liver, I have to do a fibroscan later on. So this was his initial state when I took a photo in CMC due to some reason, and this is his current state. He's healthier than before he was sick. Before his brace-nile health, he's more healthy than that. So coming to the next patient, this is a 46-year-old male post bone marrow transplant relapse of acute myeloid leukemia. Means they have already spent 50 lakh rupees. They have done bone marrow transplant. They have taken all the chemotherapy, and her sister was half matched. This red line, her sister was half matched donor, and this D28, D56 means day plus 28, day plus 56 of bone marrow transplant. So day plus 56 of peripheral blood stem cell or bone marrow transplant, he had 18 to this 25% blast in the bone marrow. So he basically did not respond to any chemotherapy. And also due to blast, they occupy the bone marrow and do not allow the normal cells to be formed. So such patients will have leukopenia, and if WBC counts are low, there will be all kinds of infection. The WBCs are kind of Agni. So Dhatu Agni at the machal, I don't know whether Rakt level or machal is what you say, but it is kind of Agni. It helps in healing. If WBCs are low, white blood cells, then wounds will not heal, whatever medicines you give. And gangrene infections can seed in, and all the infections usually in Western medicine, they say they come from gut. If the Agni is low, if the WBCs are low, they come from gut. This is their hypothesis. So the bacteria in the gut like Klebsiella will go in the blood. Similarly, so this patient had complicated urosepsis due to low WBC count. So what do you mean by complicated urosepsis? Means the penis and the testes in this patient were gangrenous and were near to be cut because there were no WBCs. And he was on all the antibiotics like meropenem, colistin, tigecycline, caspofungin, antifungal, amphotericin. Everything he was on. Teicoplanin was also tried. So at that time, I see in the event of severe deterioration, may take do not resuscitate. Resuscitate means he was there was no hope of survival. And also one drug was being imported on trial basis, which we use in elderly people, like it is called Glasdigip. So Glasdigip has a 5% chance of temporary control of the disease in such cases. 5% chance. Usually we use in elderly patients because Glasdigip is less effective and less side effects also. So in such cases with infections, we cannot give chemotherapy, no chemotherapy at this time, because already he is having in sepsis. In sepsis, we don't give chemotherapy. So that time I started the medicines, this mercury-based preparation, with the help of Dr. Ramesh from Karnataka. He guided me. So I added Hemagarbha, Taragarbha, Abragarbha, and some Rasasandhura also in some point of time, and Hirak, Swarn, Kanchana. So Kanchana was added later on. So my purpose was to, if somehow it could help him. Actually, he recovered from the sepsis, urosepsis. And if you see this treatment post-transplant, prolonged state of cytopenia with persistent circulating blast, family has been counseled. And if see, this is all happening June, huh? And July 13 has recovered from complicated urosepsis. Last cycle to Glasdigip, low dose cytosine was given on 1st June. After that, no chemotherapy given. Still, the counts have come up, and near perfect recovery of counts. We can repeat a bone marrow. How he has recovered, we don't know. So the bone marrow was done in July, and it was bone marrow biopsies complete morphologic remission. So basically, morphologic remission, when we see biopsy, it is 10 to the power minus 2, means hundreds. If one cancer cell in among 100 cells, we can detect it. But the cancer goes further down. We call it minimal residual disease. So then we have to use flow cytometry and all. That's why we have to keep on continuing chemotherapy till there is no cancer cells in million cells. Still we continue chemotherapy till we hope that it will go below. So see, within the 20 days time, his bone marrow went into remission in a case of post-transplant relapse. So I would just list out the medicines. Yes, these were the medicines which I used. Jai Mangal, which was told me that this will work, so I used that. Jai Mangal, Kanchana Google. Since I have used chemotherapy, so I modified the means I asked whether we can give like this 14 by 28 means 2 weeks in 4 months. But in general, I used Jai Mangal. I was told to use Jai Mangal Ras, Kanchana Google, Hirak Bhasma, Nityanand Ras, Punanav Mando, Hemagarbha, Rajat, or if Taragarbha was not available. Then Pitta Shamak, Praval Panchamitra, Kamduda, as per the condition. Then these things, Arogyavardhani, Panch Pitta, Ghrist, Google. And later on, maintenance, the medicines were changed, were planned to be changed. So the thing is, these are all chur and chutney, and you are spending so much money, like 40 lakhs, already 50, 60 lakhs was spent of the patient. And so it was difficult for the patient to believe whether the imported drug was working or chur and chutney was working. So he stopped. Then I finished my tenure in Tata. I mean, after 1 year completion, I left Tata and I came to my hometown. So that time there was no follow-up. He didn't call, and he actually relapsed and died because he stopped taking these medicines. He was thinking that the imported drug is working. So in October, he relapsed and died. He called me, sir, I stopped it. Sir, please help me. On phone, a sick ICU patient of leukemia. It's difficult to even he stopped it. So these were the notes, like what medicines were there that time. The problem is the Vaidya Seta. Whenever I used to give medicine to my patient, I used to taste it to see the efficacy, to observe it. So in my personal experience, Vaidya Seva medicines totally have gone down quality. Then coming to the third case of relapsed refractory acute myeloid leukemia. So he was advised bone marrow transplant. He was from Bangladesh, and if he goes into remission, he was advised allo bone marrow transplant, and he was explained that a high risk of progression of disease if chemotherapy. He developed COVID also. So bridging chemotherapy is not given before transplant, and high risk of progression. So the problem is this patient took induction chemotherapy 3+7 induction strong chemotherapy in Bangladesh, and he had a failed induction, means he had persistent cancer after chemotherapy. So he came to Tata, and he came to Tata. So if you see high risk AML failed induction in Bangladesh post 3+7. And then he came to Tata. So in Tata, because his general health was also not good post chemotherapy with cancer, we started him on bridging chemotherapy, hypomethylating agent with venetoclax, 3 to 4 cycles. So the thing is, patient developed COVID during this time. And he went to ICU, COVID ICU. He came with altered sensorium and high-grade fever, febrile encephalopathy. He was admitted in COVID. He had COVID positive. He was
Sorry to intervene. Although this presentation is very interesting and very curious, we have reached 9 o'clock. So it would be better, sir, if you could just
So basically, these medicines work. Kamruda Rasa, so if you see the dosage also. So initially, as guided to me, that a half dibbi, which is 50 milligram, was given initially. Then the dose was decreased. So Kamruda Ras, Hirak, Abrak, Kanchana, Nityanand Ras, Punarnava, Mahamrigang, Arogyavardhani, Panchtik, Grit Kubar, Swan Vasan Mal, Abrak, Kantal Hoa, Taptadi Loha, Hemagarbha. And later on, as I learned, the Saptadhatus should be given in cancer, where the Balindu Prakashji told. Copper should be supplemented, silver should be supplemented, gold should be supplemented. Similarly, this coming to the last case, and more than a year he is on Fortalis, and his create is less than 1. This in March 2023. Okay, so if the make is correct, it is very safe, food grade. And similarly, this 16-year-old child with relapsed acute leukemia, auto driver child, had fungal pneumonia, not responding to anything with low WBC count. If you see poor prognosis, counsel family not willing for palliative management. He has fungal consolidations. Any intensive therapy can induce further cytopenia. And if you see down, everything is decreased. He is now fit. If you see, so he actually improved after this. This happened in May, and he was good in June, July. So the thing is, he was an auto driver child, and they didn't have money to continue Ayurveda. So there was no insurance covering the Ayurveda. So later on, he relapsed because he could not afford Ayurveda. But Tata chemotherapy is supported by Tata. So this is my presentation. So integration depends on how deep you want to integrate or how deep you want to replace. It depends on how much government wants to take the support us. See, we have become independent in 1947, but personally, I feel that we are still the slaves in terms of the education, in terms of the schooling, and in terms of we own. Like currently, I am speaking in English. That is the integrate means. People feel good if they go outside because they feel there's nothing here. That's why they feel good. They go outside. So there's a lot, and I have also exposure of some kalp ausharis. So that depends on you how much you want to take it. See, these things should go to the government, and the whole medical system can actually change. Everything can be regenerated actually. Because when I am taking blood cancer patients, means that liver is damaged, brain is damaged, lungs are damaged. No? So all these things can be healed. Basically, it depends on how the Ayurveda team takes it. And please learn Kriya Yoga because that led me to all this. Okay, so I would like to conclude here. If anybody has, I'd like to conclude my session. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Aditya. It was a wonderful presentation, but we have exceeded some time. Sorry for all the delegates who have joined. So now it's a session for Q&A. So many delegates might be very curious and ready to ask the questions to both of our doctors. So if anyone has any question, they can ask now, or we can continue with the chat questions, which is in the chat. Although We know that Dr. Aditya is a MBBS doctor, he's an oncologist, but his class reminds of us of Swastavrita classes and other Ayurveda classes. So Dr. Aditya, he has done a great thing in Ayurveda and in integrative medicine. So if anyone has any questions or queries, please unmute yourself and please ask. Or we can go to the chat section. If you have any doubt, we can move to the, you can put your queries in the chat section. Please unmute your mic and please ask the question.
I think we should start with the questions in the chat box.
Okay. Then let's start with the questions that have been already been asked. Then we'll move to the delegates. So the first question was given by Dr. Pooja. So is the question is, will the Ayurvedic medicines be cost effective than allopathic medicines? Doctor? I think so. Let Dr. Amar Mansode answer first, and then let's hear from Dr. Aditya.
Hello.
Yes, doctor.
Yes, which one question?
Is the Ayurvedic medicines more cost effective than allopathic medicine?
When we are dealing with the critical situations or the critical patients, if we compare with the cost with the allopathy line of treatment or the protocols, it definitely cost effective compared to the allopathy medicines. Hello.
Okay, thank you, Amar.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
for example,
what is your perspective? Yes.
For example, I just give you an example. My first ICU case was multisystem organ failure due to the drug-induced liver cirrhosis. Okay, the patient was in multisystem organ failure. The only line of treatment was liver transplant, which cost around 40 to 50 lakhs rupees. But patients get recovered in very much less amount with the Ayurveda. So definitely we can say that compared with the allopathic line of treatment, specifically dealing with the critical one, it is definitely cost effective.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
So for coming to lifestyle, I would say that Ayurveda is more costly because we see if you want to improve the lifestyle, you cannot improve it through the chemicals. You have to take grit. There is no proper indigenous cow grit even available. So if it coming to lifestyle changes, probably I am not that experienced, but whatever I have witnessed, that Ayurveda will be costly, but it is at least it is curative. So in that ways, it improves the health in many ways. So other thing I would like to say, if any Vaidya is treating, the money, if it is not sufficient for him to buy a cow or a land or sustain the herbs, so it is not a justice with Ayurveda. So if the government is like water bodies have to be preserved and all in this time when this all has to be seen. Okay, so labs will be cheaper in chronic diseases. Yes.
Yes. So the next question is that there are some medicines that the problem is that there is a problem of acquiring the right or availability of these Ayurvedic medicines. So, what do you think about this question?
Hello.
Yes, sir. Dr. Amar sir, you can answer.
Yes. Which one?
About the availability of these medicines.
See, there are many good companies nowadays manufacturing precious medicines, specifically from the Rashastras and the classical texts. So we can prefer the good pharmaceutical companies. And the second option is that there are many Vaidyas manufacturing on the personal level too. So you can easily find it out the good one or qualitative medications from the Rashastra and even the practical one.
Okay, thank you, Amar sir. Sir, Dr. Aditya sir, what do
Yes.
you have?
So can Rasa Shastra medicines contribute to emergency medicines? Yes, it can become the primary medicines for emergency medicines. And it can prevent at least the intubation of at least 90% of the 90% classroom. It can prevent intubations of at least 90% patients if given on correct time. Yes. So it can become the primary medicines in ICU, not contribute.
Okay, okay, thank you, Aditya sir. Sir, there is a question here.
So research, coming to research, see, I have not published this because it will be produced outside. So that's why I have not published it. See, it is the duty of a government. See, if we keep on publishing these things, one paper will lead to, so much money, then we will buy. I'll just give you an example of arsenic. My boss was there, my teacher in CMC, Dr. Vikram Matthews sir. He was working on acute promyelocytic leukemia. Actually, I came to know about Balindu Prakashji through him only. So when he was doing MD, there was a patient of acute promyelocytic leukemia who did not have money for treatment. So if we send a patient back from CMC Vellore with acute promyelocytic leukemia because he doesn't have money, there's 100% mortality. So he came back after 6 months for his psychological satisfaction that how he's doing. So sir was very surprised how he made it through for these 6 months. So he was carrying a bhasma. They analyzed it by mass spectrometry. It was arsenic as the primary constituent. So then sir started taking efforts and made arsenic in the church, the arsenic solutions, arsenic trioxide in 10 rupees. That time they were available. And sir was criticized all over the world for arsenic, was one drug. When he talked to Balindu Prakash, he said, I cure all the cancers. So he thought it is a joke. So then he hypothesized it that, okay, promyelocytic means it is not exactly the blast involved. It has a relatively better prognosis because they are promyelocytes after the lineage of the blast. So that theory is definitely true. But he worked on arsenic, and currently the arsenic, because the CMC started making it later on, it is 500, 600 rupees. I'm telling you, 2 years back cost 600 rupees for India, and it is $600 in the international market now. So it depends on, see, if ideally this Shastra should be preserved by the Kshatriyas, the government. Government is the Kshatriya, but if it is not taking, then if somebody publishes due to inferiority complex, then it will go outside for sure. And there are many people to make these medicines, and then we will buy it. For instance, there's a Tixobactam, the new drug, which is not even available antibiotic in our country. So it is made from mud, the bacteria in the mud. So I suggest, that's why research, I don't know whether we'll call it research. It is not research, it is rediscovery. That is a better term for me. And we should actually read it properly and just implement it. There's nothing to research in this. Everything is already given. So yes, we can rediscover the things. It will be a research for the world, but it is already given. Once it is lost, it is lost. Very difficult to get it in 1,000 years.
Thank you, Aditya sir. Sir, next question is to Dr. Amar Banswade. Sir, how can we manage conditions like hypertension, hyperglycemia, etc. through Ayurveda? Can you give some suggestions for those?
Yeah, definitely. See, basically, it must be considered under the metabolic disorders. Ayurveda explain it very well under the Santarpanjanya and the Apatarpanjanya Vadis. So, if you treat the patients, like, firstly, we have to find out the root cause about the hypertension or the hyperglycemia, whatever metabolic disorders we are dealing with. That we have to find out the root cause, and it is explained very well. It's regarding with the Agni concepts actually. So, with the basic principles of Ayurveda, we can treat successfully all these metabolic disorders. Definitely.
So you could also specify some of the medications you have used in these conditions.
Definitely, for the hypertensive disorders, we can use the Sarpagandhadi Vati. According to cause, we use so many drugs like Arogya Vardhini, Chandraprabha Vati, Moktik, Yukta Kam Dudha, Muktadi Pishti. So according to cause and the Prakriti, you can use different medications. And in the hyperglycemia, one must treat the patient with the, there are the two laws, Santarpanjanya Vyadhi and Apatarpanjanya Vyadhi. So in hyperglycemia or the hypercholesterol like this, all these are the Santarpanjanya Vyadhis. So we have to do the Apatarpana. So the drugs which are in the Lekhan property, we can use it like the Arogya Vardhini, Falatrikadi Kasha, Chandraprabhavati, Chitrakadi Vati, like that. To do the Apatarpana or the Lekhan Guna, the hyperglycemia or the hypercholesterol, definitely successfully you can treat it. Hello.
So the next question, I think so, Dr. Aditya sir, if he has also insight, he could answer. Sir, can Ayurvedic medicines be used in case of snake bite in place of ASV?
Sir, I don't have team. I don't have any experience with snake bite. So as an allopathic doctor with Ayurveda experience, I would suggest to use both if you have facility of the both. But somebody else can put a better light. Seeing the results in sepsis, theoretically, if I say there can be better to very good drugs, very good aushadhis. Sorry.
Dr. Amar sir, what do you think about can Ayurvedic medicines be used in cases of a snake bite in place of ASV?
There are so many drugs in the text, but I personally don't have any experience to treat the snake bite actually. But with the fellow doctors, I heard about the treatment part from the specifically in the South India. There are so many Vaidyas which treat the successfully snake bite. But personally, I don't have any personal experience with this.
Thank you, Amar sir.
Yes.
Now let's invite Dr. Vinayak for the conclusion, and let's invite Dr. Vinayak.
Thank you, Dr. Abhimanyu. Can you unshare the screen, sir? I think I'm audible to all.
Yes.
So this is actually a very important juncture we are. So there were questions in early that is this courses of ACLS is available for every practitioners. Yes, the intention of the whole project, AYU Emergency Project, is to ensure serious research and development of Ayurveda emergency practices around the country and make clear examples and models which can be upscaled and replicated around the country. We have awesome support from the doctors like Dr. Mail Varli, Dr. Amar Banswade, Dr. Aditya, who are actually working and proving and bringing out awesome, inspiring researchers, case presentations in this sector. So I'll try to we also have a video about AYU Emergency Project. If possible, I'll also try to share that, and we'll conclude for the day.
Dr. Vinayak, do you want I do it from my laptop?
Okay. Yeah, it's not playing, so I think it'll be good. I think the voice is not clear. Is the voice is a problem, right?
Now?
No. I think the voice, I think it needs to be
More?
while sharing screen. You think you need to add the voice option also. So let it be, we'll share it in the group. The video is visible, the voice is not.
And no voice is there. Oh.
So I think so Ayur Emergency Yatra is just a beginning, and I appreciate all the people who have joined this workshop, because this is where you're all the people who have actually decided to be early adopters and be the part of community to experiment and bring out solutions for Ayurveda based emergency medicines. And I think this is, once the video is over, this is a good time we conclude the sessions. We will be sharing a post-evaluation survey form in the group. Please do provide your valuable feedbacks on that. We will also share with you all the updates on the program and when the AECLS program will be available for all of you if you're interested to come and join for the program. So we will also update you with all the activities happening with the Ayur Emergency Yatra. Thank you. Thanks a lot. I think, Dr. Abhinandan, we can conclude the sessions.
Dr. Abhimanyu is here to conclude the session, or is not more, no more there? So I will take to conclude. So I hope, and now there is very few people, but I hope everyone will follow us and meet us on the way. And it is just a beginning. I think many things has to be done when we see the experience of Dr. Aditya and Dr. Amar. We have to promote this and to bring all the experts and the academics and the decision maker to make this emergency management through Ayurveda possible. And oncology and many other fields with specific drugs, specific management like Rasa Oshadi. So thank you very much for every participant and the doctor who shares their experience. Thank you and see you soon.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.